March. We can confirm now that 19 asylum seekers have arrived on the Bibby Stockholm since yesterday, 15 yesterday, of course, one about an hour and a half ago, and 3 more just within the last 10 minutes or so were seen going up the gangway carrying suitcases. In addition to those who are actually arriving here, those that are on board, of course, are free to leave anytime they like, and there are regular bus services shuttling them to places on Portland Island and across into Weymouth. So a number of those asylum seekers have been seen leaving the barge, leaving the port and heading off possibly towards Weymouth. So 19 so far, and we're expecting, I think, throughout the course of today there will be more arriving, but if it's anything like yesterday, it may be way short of what the original expectation was. We were told that it was going to be 50 who were arriving yesterday. In the end, it was only 15. As many of those, 20 of those, in fact, did not go on board the buses that were to take them here to Portland Harbour on the advice of lawyers and Charities who had intervened on their behalf and said that for a variety of reasons it would have been cruel and inhumane to put these people on the barge. They've now been given letters, further notices from the Home Office, giving them a deadline really until the end of today to get on that barge, and if they don't get on the barge, the letter effectively says that they may well find themselves not receiving any Home Office support, and that might mean that they're homeless and destitute. I'm not quite sure where the Home Office would stand legally on that point, as it obviously is obliged by law to ensure that no asylum seeker is left destitute, but they have offered accommodation. If that accommodation is not taken up, then maybe perhaps that is a legal argument they could have.
It does sound like a bit of an empty threat. I can't imagine the Home Office would be able to just say, OK, well then, no support for you, you can be homeless. And that's not what Brits are going to want either, is it really? Lots of single men just sleeping on the streets who've just come off a dinghy in the Channel.
They could do that for all 50,000. I mean, if they wanted, they could literally say, right, well, you're all either on the Bibby Stockholm or you're all homeless. Like, it's a ridiculous suggestion. It's never going to happen.
But maybe it's working. I mean, we've seen... Mark, I'm sorry if you're repeating yourself, but why has there been such a trickle? One here, one there, going onto the barge?
Well, I mean, they're coming from different hotels, a lot of them. So they wanted to do it in a sort of... a process whereby it was an incremental process of putting people gradually on the barge. They didn't want 200 people, for instance, turning up at the same time. The processing then would be clearly under strain. There would be a logjam trying to get them on board. So they want to do it over a period of weeks, if not months, to get up to that 500 total figure. But I don't think anyone really expected that there would just be 1 or 2 people on these big coaches that are arriving. I think that is a byproduct of the advice that they are being given by the lawyers and the Charities, saying, look, just don't get on these buses, because clearly if they were getting on the buses, it wouldn't just be a trickle of 1 or 2 or 3 going up the gangway. It would be, 10 at a time.
Mark, do we know where the people who are heading for the Bibby Stockholm are coming from specifically? Are they coming from the local area, or are they being bussed from all sorts of areas around the UK?
Well, I was told that the initial cohort are coming from hotels around Bournemouth, so not too far from here. And it makes sense, of course, that they would draw those asylum seekers from hotels in this local area to begin with, rather than bussing them from one end of the country to the other. So just like in Lincolnshire, when RAF Scampton is finally up and running, providing it gets through the judicial review process, it'll probably take people from that end of the country, as those from South East England are likely to go to Wethersfield in Essex.